Do you want to read? Are you ready?
Yeah, we're
All right, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance by our Council President, Josh Adamson.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're not having a Volunteer of the Month presentation tonight, so we'll move on to the consent calendar. Is anything, any counselor wish to have anything removed there to talk about separately?
No, motion to approve.
Madeline made the motion, Chris seconded. All in favor? And now, what we're all here for, the public hearing.
No,
What?
we gotta go 3.9, 3.10, and 3.11.
That's part of the consent.
Oh, it is? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry,
Oh, yeah.
everybody.
I
Mistake.
I already went through. I saw the same thing. All right.
Okay.
All right. Public hearing items are required to be duly noticed and are subject to public comments. So now we will. This is 7 pages long, so bear.
Here, you your microphone? Yeah, it's on.
On. Well, it couldn't get much closer. I'll be eating it. Okay. All right. This item is a public hearing in the matter of Gravel Point Phase 2, 25057, Gravel Point Phase 2 annexation, comprehensive plan and map amendment, zoning map change and master planned amendment. Bandon Municipal Code Section 1604020 requires these applications to be processed as Type 4 procedures with final decision by the City Council. However, because this action is directed at a proposed development sponsored by a single developer applicant, the city has chosen to incorporate quasi-judicial procedural components as prescribed under a state law, ORS 197.797, parent 6. The applicable criteria pertaining to the application are as follows. Bandon Municipal Code Chapters 1604080, Type 4 procedures, 16.20 Master Plan Development, 16.32 Zone Changes and Amendments, 16.40 Improvements, 17.118 Annexation. The City Council will now hold a public hearing in accordance with BMC Section 1704080. Amendments shall be adopted by ordinance. At this time, I will open the public hearing. A copy of the minutes of the hearing will be available in the city offices. A copy of the rules and procedures I am reading will be available in the city offices as part of this file. If you wish to speak, please add your name to the testimony sign-up form with City Clerk. I will recognize you from the form or when I ask if anyone else wishes to speak. You will be limited to 3 minutes. If you have sent in a written statement, and it will be part of the record, and you do not need to read it to us in the record. The hearing is being recorded. Please speak clearly. Once recognized, please step up to the podium and begin your comments by stating your name for the record. To avoid repetitive or redundant testimony, if someone has already testified and made your point, but you still wish to be on the record, please simply state that the previous speaker has raised your issue or you have provided already written comments. Testimony, arguments, and evidence in this hearing must be directed toward the applicable criteria or standards identified in the staff report or to other criteria in the development code or comprehensive plan that you believe applies to this decision. The application before the council this evening must be decided based on these criteria. Despite the importance of other issues that may be raised during the public hearing, the authority of the council is limited only to those issues that address compliance with the applicable criteria. Failure to raise a specific issue to afford the council and the parties an opportunity to respond to the issues precludes an appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals based on that issue. Failure of the applicant to raise specific constitutional or other issues relating to proposed conditions of approval to allow the city to respond to the issues precludes an action for damages in circuit court. A decision may be made by the council at the close of the hearing, or the matter may be continued to a time and date certain in the future. If the matter is reset to a date certain in the future, this will be the only notice of the date that you receive. We now shall commence. Do any council members wish to disclose any ex parte contacts, bias, or conflicts of interest? Okay. What does the staff have to report?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. This evening's presentation will be provided by Community Development Director Jeff Mitchum. Jeff.
Happy New Year, Mayor, council members. I have a brief presentation for you focusing on findings and process. I'll turn it over to you for questions of staff. We have a full staff here for you. Public Works team is ready to answer questions on utilities and infrastructure associated with the project. We have a development team here for you as well to get into details with lots of pretty pictures and findings of their own on the project. And with a bit of an apology for the extra paperwork in front of you, I want to explain what we did hand out to you this evening for the sake of the record. The ordinance number 1674 is annexation. 1676 is the comp plan and zoning amendment, and 1678 is the master plan development itself. Substantively, the material in front of you is unchanged from what was emailed to you and posted online. You did notice that the exhibits in what we sent you earlier had a little statement that said more material coming. This material is that material. So the findings, the legal description, all that material is here. So that's why there's a volume of paper on your desk right in front of you. In addition, there's an Exhibit C, which is also referenced in each of the ordinances as the supplemental findings based on testimony evidence that staff and applicant have received since material's been posted online. As you mentioned, this item is 25057, which is consolidated review under BMC 1604-090C for three ordinances, 1674 being annexation, 1676 being zone change and amendment, and 1678 being master plan development itself. And again, to underscore the importance of these findings are updated based on legal description and supplemental findings provided to you, as I've just said. Procedurally, I want to touch a little bit on this hybridization. So type 3 review is specified under certain conditions. We at a staff level feel this project meets those conditions, as well as complying with our legislative amendment requirements for type 4. So we're hybridizing those for the sake of the record, giving public more time to comment, a time certain return on a decision of 120 days to the applicant. But also we're amending our planning doctrine under type 4 procedures. Planning Commission arrived at a deadlock. So they voted 3-3, but they did vote unanimously to forward this to you for decision. So the findings before you are initially those of staff and as those supplemented as I've just explained. So the staff recommendation before you is approval based on those findings, both in staff report and attachments to each of the ordinances. The request specifically is for an annexation of what's phase 2 in the top of on the top right side of the diagram there. That's 30 acres, and that's conveyed by Ordinance 1674. Secondly, the entire 60 acres of the project would be subject to a comprehensive plan amendment and a zone amendment from planned residential to controlled development. And finally, for the entire project site, Master Plan Development Ordinance 1678 conveys 60 acres of the project as submitted by the application. So it's important to note that we are at a concept level, 10,000 feet-ish. I'm going to touch on this in just a few minutes, but it's important to note that this is the beginning of an evaluation process that cranks up the level of detail to increasing levels of scale and specificity. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit, and particularly with respect to the amount of analysis that's done by staff to assure that utilities exist for the project, infrastructure is in place to support it at full build out, and the public benefit is in place as well. So that's the role of our conditions of approval at this 10,000 foot level. We will add to those in the refinement process. Briefly, I try to give you a quick view of what those conditions of approval topically look like. utility sufficiency, stormwater, land division, community benefit, the geologic assessment components, the TIA or transportation impact assessment, an expiration of 5 years. So this goes away if within that 5-year period, they don't come back with this detailed development plan. Utility infrastructure, including Highway 101, constructed conceptually as depicted in our TSP. Big underscore there. Talk about that in a bit. So as I noted, we are on the far left side of this in an area plan, concept level, type 3, type 4 hybrid. Planning Commission and City Council met on those dates. The record is open and we will advance it based on your recommendations this evening and move forward to a detailed development plan. And I want to touch briefly on what that will look and feel like procedurally. So if in the future for the detailed development plan, this developer comes forward with substantial conformance, so everything as depicted conceptually is vetted with greater detail and provided in the form of a development application that conforms in its entirety with what you're looking at now, then that will be procedurally subject to a type 1 process. So that's an administrative decision with no public review. If, on the other hand, there are minor deviations based on my assessment, that procedural threshold increases to a type 2, which includes public review, noticing, and so on. If there's substantial deviation based on my determination, that will be elevated to a type 3 process, which goes before Planning Commission. It's important to note that the detailed development plan type 2 process goes to you on appeal.
Right.
Okay, doesn't go to Planning Commission. After that, we've got zoning compliance, which is a type 1 for both residential and commercial development. So we get another bite at the apple there. That's where we make sure that all of the construction documents are in compliance with all the conditions of approval. So housing, transportation, wetlands, et cetera, before we issue any entitlement to construct the project. And then finally, during construction, or in advance of it rather, we are now subject to a series of permitting requirements issued by our Public Works Department. So that includes right-of-way, street standards, and encroachments. And to summarize, staff report recommendation to Planning Commission initially was based on staff report attachment 1 as pursuant to those sections of code for annexation, zone change amendment, master plan development, and then also those supplementary findings which are provided to you in the handout. Yeah, I think that's, I've hammered that one enough. Just underscore the importance of those supplemental findings, okay? It's a fluid record. There's been a lot of comments coming in, and it's important for staff to stay on top of our demonstrated nexus to approval criteria with every decision we make. So that's why I'm making this crystal clear, hopefully. I want to touch on what master plan development does and doesn't do. It's new. This is the first time we've applied it. Thanks to my predecessor, it's a very effective piece of code that's proving to be clear to work with so far. And what it does is provide for a consolidated, if you will, umbrella of an entitlement that gets to fold into it a number of other provisions in the municipal code, including planning for large sites, improvements in 1640, wetland protection, transportation, housing, and utilities related provisions in municipal code. So we get to fold that in at your discretion, decide which of those provisions that you want to advance, which you want to concede or grant variances on, and those variances are explained in the staff report and more specifically in Ordinance 1678 in the findings. Gets into great detail on specifically what variances and modifications they're requesting under 1620. We're happy to go into detail with you when the time comes. So briefly, I want to touch on public benefits. This is a broad look at what this project proposes to do. In the way of housing, there are 41 single-family dwelling lots, 16 townhome units, 50 workforce housing units. And as an economic development perspective or prospect, it brings a mixed-use development to us. It doesn't rely on leading economic development initiatives purely with residential development, nor does it offer to lead economic development initiatives on a pure commercial basis, but rather it does it all. So it's bringing both residential and commercial development to the table, and it's also providing a revenue source in the form of visitor serving projects as well. It preserves open space and wetlands, as described in greater detail in the master plan development work, and some of the findings specifically around 16102, which are the wetland provisions of the municipal code. It is achieving a LEED Gold equivalent, so that's leadership in environmental efficiency, and it's by comparison to what could come our way, reassuring to see. And I want to point out that the community development or community benefit parcel of 1.73 acres is unspecified yet, and we can go into greater detail about that. But we are holding that detail to the detailed development plan process. So right now it's a set aside, and the applicant's available to talk in greater detail about how we plan to articulate that in the forthcoming phases. As far as utilities goes, again, improvements are to be made by the applicant. We have public works staff to go into greater detail about what that looks like. I want to say that they're rooted largely in the 2022 master plan, water master plan. Water, sewer, and electric are all conditioned. I will say that the fire flow issues that came up at Planning Commission and public comment have been addressed to staff's determination sufficiently by Public Works. And Steve Major, our city engineer, is here to answer detailed questions if you have them. And then finally, as I pointed out, the transportation system plan, Highway 101 connection is sort of a floating dotted line right now. Leave it at that. And this diagram does show that it's project R4, by the way, in our TSP. And that's what that R4 dash line looks like locationally, approximately. That's all I've got to say right now, unless you have questions for me. And again, I'll turn it over to staff as necessary. I will say that we do have zooming in from somewhere in transit is Dana Nichols, who did the lion's share of the work to get it this far and to through Planning Commission as well. So she's got a greater depth and breadth of understanding some of the development details. And then of course we've got our Public Works team here as well.
Yeah, I've got a question, Jeff. In the procedure you talked about, so after tonight, once they submit their final plans, it'll go to an admin review. Is that standard procedure? I feel like in the past we've gone over conceptual plans and then they've always came back to the city council for review.
No, the master plan development code, so 1620, provides a detailed development plan process that, as I've brought up here again, is divided in terms of procedure. So type 1 for pure conformance, if they build it as you see it, there's no reason for them to come back here. If they ask for minor deviations, we elevate it. If they ask for significant deviations, and we can go into great detail if you'd like to about what that might look and feel like, there's going to be a type 3 process to undertake. Substantial conformance is a threshold that is discretionary. Suffice it to say that this staff member understands that this is a highly sought after, controversial project. It is one that is very important. It's a very important piece of our city, and we would err on discretion to get as much public involvement and review process as possible during forthcoming review phases.
Well, then I would definitely like to ask for it to come back to council approval instead of just the admin.
Well, in that case, when the time comes, you can ask that. You can ask for it to be elevated under the provisions of our code. If you're asking me to weigh in right now on what those thresholds are, I would say to you that if it deviates from these thresholds, then we've got some code work to do before we get there. But under this code, those discretionary limits are pretty clear.
We could always call it up on our own though, couldn't we?
If it were a type 2 process and above, yeah,
But not a one.
right.
Okay.
Okay, I just feel like there is a lot of gray area. You know, the community benefit, there's no details on that.
True,
So-
and it's at your discretion this evening to either ask for greater clarity, direct staff to make the findings to support that, or to condition it,
Okay,
so that by the time the detailed is forthcoming, that it rises to a level that's meets your comfort. So that means a robust condition of approval to give you that degree of comfort.
Anyone else before we go to the applicant's presentation?
Mhm.
Right now, it's time for the applicant to make a presentation and you have 20 minutes.
Mayor, councilors, all right, Madam Mayor, councilor, city staff, and members of the community, thank you for your time. Happy New Year. For the record, my name is Brett Perkins. I am the master developer of Gravel Point Phase 1 and Gravel Point Phase 2. But more importantly, I am from this area. I want to make it very clear that I'm born and raised in Coos Bay, just north of Bandon Dunes here, in between Coos Bay and Bandon. I just want to let you guys know that I'm here to stay. I am a homeowner in Bandon, and I am committed to seeing not only this project through, but future opportunities in Bandon, as I'm very committed to putting my roots deep down here in Bandon. Counselor Garrett, just to let you know that in our presentation, we'll address some of your questions on the community benefit parcel.
thank you.
I would like to maybe go to the next slide here. Next slide. All right. I thought I'd spend my time before I introduce my team, just to give you a little bit of my background and my experience, because I feel like, I haven't seen you guys in a while and there's some new faces to the council. So I'm, like I said, I'm from Coos Bay. I cut my teeth in construction in the early 2000s, doing single family residential construction with my uncle here in Coos Bay, who's still an active general contractor. I moved to Southern California about 20 years ago, where I worked for an investment advisor and I managed his portfolio of real estate projects for several years before moving on to ExxonMobil and working in the global real estate and facilities department of ExxonMobil. The last 8 years, I've been working for a company called CW Driver, a large commercial general contractor, 106-year-old builder, 5 offices, 400 employees. We've been ranked the #1 company in Southern California 2 years in a row. And I am on the executive leadership team, and I'm a part owner in the company as well. So in the last 8 years, I've had my hand in at least 15 large scale commercial projects, ranging from 5 million to 500 million. And so in 2019, I formed Perk Development with the sole ambition of doing something back in my hometown. And so since then, Gravel Point Phase 1 and Gravel Point Phase 2 have been the primary projects, even though I have a small pipeline of opportunities in pre-planning and due diligence. Just to give a little clarity on the timeline on where we're at, we picked up the Phase 2 property in 2023 as we were going through the Phase 1 entitlement process. Since then, we have spent a significant amount of time learning about the site, which includes about a 1.5 year study of the wetlands on the site. We've also done a lot of geotech work, survey work, and a lot of programming. One thing to note is that for Phase 1, we just received our approval here in December for our full entitlement to move forward. But during that Phase 1 process, there was a lot of community comments that came in with regards to what they would like to see instead of a hotel project. And so what we have done with Phase 2 is we've tried to incorporate as many of those concerns and those wants and needs from the community in phase two. So our team will go through that presentation, but we've really tried to weigh heavy on the single family residential component because we know that single family residential and workforce housing is a big issue in town. So with that said, I'd like to introduce the team. With me is our land use attorneys, Dan O'Connor, Garrett West. We have our utility Swiss Army knife, Darren Sandino from Parametrics. He's our civil engineer, environmental planner, and landscape architect. And then our architects, Chris Bell and Mark Giles. I'll be available for questions if you have them after the presentation.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Dan O'Connor. I'm with O'Connor West. I represent the applicant. Our office address is 670 G Street, Suite B, Jacksonville, Oregon, 97530. I'm going to be very brief tonight, which is probably a welcome change because you may be tired from hearing from me. But I just want to touch briefly on the master plan ordinance, which, our firm supported during that process to adopt the master plan ordinance. It's a forward-thinking ordinance, especially with the state mandates that keep coming down relating to housing, where the state of Oregon, I'm not political, but where the state is taking control from the cities, interjecting themselves in that sense based on residential development because of the housing supply issue. And so with this master plan ordinance, what we are utilizing that is to limit development rights on the property. In just a little more explanation than what Brett was saying is that this property was acquired in 2023 from Gorilla Capital. Gorilla Capital they're a financial group that funds residential developments, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the essence of why we acquired that land is because to protect our hotel site, phase one, which is approved. And so we're basically utilizing this as a tool to limit the development that can occur. And at the Planning Commission hearing, it was a 3-3 vote, as was stated. And my apologies to the planning commissioners who voted no, because I failed my job in explaining the land use context in which the decision is being made. And what I mean by that is my understanding on the no votes was concern about preserving open space. But the land is in 30 acres of phase two. Phase two is 60 acres. 30 acres is in the city right now and is zoned R1. And based on what would be allowed by right for residential is 157 dwelling unit, either single family or duplex lots on what's in the city now. The land in the UGB is currently zoned UR1. Urban residential 1, which is a dense residential. There was some confusion at the Planning Commission about a comp plan designation. On your comp plan, it shows it's an old school map. It's not very detailed, where it shows planned residential and it shows some open space. And most of that open space designation was in the 30 acres in the city already. And so long story short is, if our group did not acquire that from, Gorilla Capital, that group had already met with the city through Monte Vista Homes, and you'll see a site plan. And we're not here trying to say, oh no, you got to do this or else. I'm just giving you the context of why this land was acquired and why this setup, which is on 60 acres, 57 dwelling units. We have a small retail commercial component. I'll let the architects give the detail, but I feel like I failed to explain the existing land use framework to those planning commission members that voted no, because this master plan ordinance and this master plan application is doing what they wanted. It is protecting the open space component. In the vision is from looking from your park, looking south, there will be this corridor that will come from the park, head south, and then tie into the hotel use at the end. And so that is just the context I wanted to give you on that. And then just a side note, on the community benefit parcel, we'll give some more detailed explanation for you on that. But we did up the count to 50 workforce housing units. I think at Planning Commission was 36, but with our further design, we can increase that. And I appreciate the Planning Commission on concerning our stipulation to extend to Highway 101. And that is, we are going to build the road that from this project, we're going to build the roads within the project. And also, just to add, we have committed to not just building them, but to maintaining them. And so with that, we are stipulating to the extension of Face Rock Drive to 101. And that would be at our cost. That's at our cost. And I was just given a note to reserve right for rebuttal. And unless you have any questions, that's the scope of my presentation. Garrett West from our office will probably add in a little, but we really want to get the architects and the engineers to.
And you'll have a rebuttal time after.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Thank you.
Good evening, all. Chris Bell and Mark Giles for DLR Group Architects. Go to you got the slide. Next slide, please. I think we've covered where it is. Just when the site was purchased, and this is a 2019 image, just to show the sort of the density of vegetation on the site. You can see how dark green it is there. If you go to the next slide, please. That's with the gorse removed. That's all that happened between those two images. So quite a lot of gorse clearance has happened on the site already. And that was on the timeline. So we just kind of wanted to show some of the activities that have been happening sort of in the meantime, if you like. Next slide, please. So there's the sort of the development as proposed. We've seen it on a couple of other slides already. So why don't we skip to the next slide, please? And then here we are with the that previous plan by others that was discussed. That's just a touch over 200 units, largely accessed from the adjacent neighborhoods. What we've been trying to do with phase 2 is listen to all that was said to us on phase 1 and try and get to those issues and try and address those issues. So that includes, right, that this site from the south is accessed from the phase 1 site, not from Carter Street, not from the neighborhood to the south. And it's accessed by extending Face Rock out to Highway 101. And that extension to Highway 101 was quite highly desired when we were having our phase 1 discussion. So we're hoping that we've addressed a lot of the issues that were worrisome for some. Those issues about access, then the character of the site will be largely phase 1 as approved. So it's just going to be that sort of coastal rustic modern. Next slide, please. And here's those roadways. So the pink are the roadways that we were just discussing. There is one that goes up to the north that goes and connects through the park onto 11th. That's the result of discussions with the city. We have had discussions both ways. Some people like the idea, some people don't like the idea. It is an offer we are making that we can make that connection. We do not require that connection. If people didn't want it, also fine with us. It's just an offer that's on the table. And then I think there were some questions at the Planning Commission about access out to Highway 101. How is that going to happen across the land that is to the east? Just to show the amount of right-of-ways that are between us and Highway 101 out to the east. So we're looking at 20th and 21st. There's discussions that are going to happen in the future with ODOT, with wetlands issues in terms of what is the alignment exactly. We've kind of swooped across our south to the site on 20 to 21st there because of the way it's a maybe slight exaggeration, but there's a slight ridge line there that's a natural break between a couple of the different wetlands. So it just seemed like a really nice low impact way to get across the site from Face Rock. Any signage we put will be as was approved in phase 1. So I think we don't need to continue on that slide. So at the north end of the site, which is in the city limits already, it is largely residential, with one exception. The sort of lower left corner is that sort of natural bowl that exists out there in the dunes. That will be left untouched and is not a house parcel. It's just community area. There's, as you can see, a series of house parcels of pretty good size. Any of sort of the wetlands we've identified will be removed from buildable area on those parcels. The top right, if we go to the next slide, please. Oh, sorry, there's a slide between the two, just a sort of an image of the character of the resi. Yeah, just skip on to, there you go. Then there's the community benefit parcel that was discussed is there in red. Mark?
So just appreciate the comment. We heard concerns in the planning commission meetings. So we wanted to bring up, there was some reticence on the group. This is all what we would love to do. It's going to require a lot of community input. It's going to require some coordination with the Abandoned Aquatic Center. So right now what we're indicating is particularly in public benefit is 50 units of workforce housing and an aquatic center with gym facilities as well. Part of the issue would be we originally planned it with some idea that it would be in coordination with the high school so that we could make sure we want to be able to do high school events. It meets all the requirements for the Oregon school system. I think if you go to the next slide. So concept rendering of the workforce housing, again, 50 units in a 3-story building, about 2,500 square feet of ground floor amenity, public space, and some private lounges on the upper floors, as well as single studio units. And this is what we're proposing right now. So one of the things we're asking for, this is where we're asking for the 35-foot height exception because of trying to meet as many of the workforce housing units as we can. Concept plan of a typical unit and a concept rendering of a typical unit for the workforce housing. And this is a concept rendering of what the aquatic center could look like as we envision it looking like. So again, full pool, meaning the requirements for high school events as well as for the public.
Thanks. So when you get to the center of the site, this is where there, other than that benefit parcel, there's a couple of the sort of non-residential elements. Top end there, you can see our townhouses. If you go to the next slide, please. Right there in red, that's just those townhouses that were mentioned before. And then the next slide after that will just show a sort of, again, a sort of concept illustration of what we're looking at doing there. So, you know, smaller lots and smaller units and some of the rest of the site. And then here in red is an event barn, which would again be part of that sort of ecosphere of the hotel. And then there's a rendering of that on the next slide. Again, sort of set in a naturalistic setting. And then this is where what was labeled retail village, which is quite small, and I think we can touch on that too.
So this is, I think there's been some concern about the square footage and how big, and it's not a mall. It's nothing like, I think, what it's been envisioned. It's fairly small buildings. It's meant to be boutique retail. It's meant to be an amenity for both the hotel as well as residents in the area and residents that already access the land. It's going to be fully connected to the rest of the community through public trails. I mean, that's the other thing, that this is entirely open to the public once we get all the sidewalks and paths in. So very small, low-rise buildings. You go to the next slide. I think there was some concern sort of where and how big this was. This is what we've tried to identify as all the retail in Bandon. You have downtown Bandon. You have the large commercial market center up on the northeast. You have kind of South Bandon on 101. And then if you're trying to have a hard time finding where our retail is on the site, it is a very small amount of retail. We have a couple of buildings that we identified before, as well as some retail and golf amenity. And just as context, this is downtown Bandon. The retail would be no larger than the warehouse coffee building that's proposed. That's about 10,000 square feet. Downtown Bandon, from what I could tell, runs around about 110 to 130,000 square feet of retail and buildings. So we're less than 10% of downtown Bandon in terms of the retail square footage that we're looking at.
Down in the south end, a few more house parcels and that golf amenity that was spoken to. Again, there seemed to be a little worry about a golf course. And so we wanted to just maybe sort of set the scene a little bit on this one too. If you went to the next slide, please. It's that area. And then next, that's our little clubhouse, which would sort of anchor that entertainment, as it were, place. So here's a quick scale comparison. The big box is a golf course. That's about 200 acres. If you went to a 9-hole, it's, let's call it 80 acres. That's the next box in. Our entire site is that little dashed box. We're talking about 5.5 acres, something like that, for including the clubhouse and everything. So it's not a golf course sized thing. It is a sort of small amenity entertainment zone. Thanks. Next slide. And so if we let's look at, this is the portion of the site would be on as it is right now. And if we just click onto the next slide, this is what we'd be putting there. So it's not a manicured, landscaped golf course. It is a leave it kind of as it is and put a few little greens and aprons in as let's call it target practice, if I could call it that. So it is a very low key, not very sort of, you know, high manicure approach to life. It's so the site will look kind of like it does now. If you go to the next one, that's just showing what's there. Little putting area at the north, golf cart, clubhouse, hitting bays, little speakeasy tucked into the woods, so it's hard to find, and then obviously a maintenance shed just to let it all happen. And then there's, I mean, this may be a little bit sandier than what really exists on the site, but it's very hard to get these renderings to do landscape perfectly. But this idea that it is a fairly rough and as found condition with a small sort of landing spot, if you like, around the flag, which is going to be the only sort of, you know, manicured part of that. So it's a pretty low impact, not a big event sort of thing. You want to go?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Darren Sandin. I'm with Parametrics, and we're leading the environmental and civil portions of the project. So I'll bring us home here with the next 3 slides. So what you see in front of you here is an error. No, I'm kidding. No. Anyway, this is a landscape plan. Well, if we go back one, there's a composite landscape plan, and what that's intended to show is basically you'll see off to the right there are several different typologies and with narratives associated with them and square footages, and those are really intended to define what the user experience is as it relates to the landscape as you move through these various areas of the project. That being said, Brett had touched on and Chris had too about the significant amount of gorse abatement that has been undertaken in the last year or so. So this provides an opportunity for us to come back and revegetate this site. And I think with the ethos of the project, what we're looking to do is use a primarily native plant palette that has a stronger ecological performance. It's married to the soil conditions, climatic conditions, reinforces sense of place, and also reduces the need for fertilizer, irrigation, those kinds of things, and sets the stage for, you know, what's unique to Bandon. So we're not looking to do anything different there. Next slide, please. So this slide, you'll see in green, again, there was maybe a little confusion on this before, but site is for officially 59.4 acres. What you see in green are the delineated wetlands that have been approved. That total is roughly 12.75 acres of the site. So with the ethos of the project, we have some areas that we've wanted to really emphasize avoiding wetland effects. So in the orange that you'll see, those are areas where proposed development affects existing wetlands. But within that total, again, of the 12.75 acres delineated, we have approximately 1.5 to 1.6 areas of area of affected wetlands. So that's roughly 12% of the wetlands existing that we're affecting. And with that, based upon regulations, we will be improving 3 acres of wetland for the proposed project. And then I believe last slide, please. So since we have the city engineer in the room, I won't belabor this point too much other than to dovetail onto some of his previous presentations that he's had before. He had talked more about the city's water and sewer models and then the available capacity for the project that he had spoken about in the Planning Commission. What I'm showing here in this is basically points are horizontal, proposed conceptual horizontal and water and sewer alignments as it relates to phase two, and then areas where we would possibly be connecting to existing city infrastructure. It was mentioned earlier in the project, or earlier in the presentation, some discussion about fire flow deficiencies. The city engineer has identified those in his December 31st memo, specifically item 4, that has 2 water line upgrade projects that would basically increase the size of the water line that would allow us, based upon Dyer's water model, to increase fire flow within this area approximately 800 to over 1,000 gallons per minute, which would bring that well into compliance with city code or state fire code. So with that, that's it.
Okay, do any members of the council have any questions of the applicant?
I have one, but it's kind of weird and it's not really pertaining to a lot of this, but what is the overall identity of the project? Because I've heard golf, hotel, shopping, mixed housing. So it just seems like a cornucopia of a lot of different. Is it something like Sun River, so to speak?
Okay, yeah, phase one is a hotel.
Okay,
And that's the one that just got approved last
Right.
month. This is designed to be, let's call it support services for that hotel, if I could put it that way. Things to do for that hotel, including, having the residential lots as well. But can it serve people that aren't at the hotel? Absolutely, but that's probably its core identity. Does
Okay.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you guys have an estimated price range on the houses, the townhomes and the apartments?
We haven't gotten that far because we're just in the master plan submittal part of this. That would happen in the detailed development plan, but I mean, it would be multiple diverse price points. That's what we have. That's why we have workforce housing. We've got the townhomes, we've got small lots, we've got large lots. So it would be a wide range of price points that would be probably competitive to what you're seeing in Beach Loop or South Bandon. So.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Okay. Speak into the mic.
I'm not too familiar with building and stuff, but you're developing this. Who's going to build it?
We would bring on a general contractor to build it.
And when it's finished, are you going to maintain it or are you going to sell the project?
Well, we would bring on
Or what are you
large.
thinking of?
I'm staying in the deal, so I will be involved all the way through until, I mean, every financial institution has their own exit plan, but usually, that's a 5 to 10 year hold. But that's just dependent on the institutional partner that will provide.
So if you put a price on one thing and sell it, then they could raise it. Is that it? That's the way it goes.
Well, this isn't going to be subsidized housing. I mean, there's no.
Right. There's a lot of factors that go into pricing, projects, and it's a market thing. So it can go up and go down. And so at any given point, we go through cost estimates at every stage of design.
Workforce housing is needed in.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So with the workforce housing, the community benefit parcel, the way that we're going to structure this is we're going to donate, the current owner is going to donate that to specifically to a 501c3 entity, which will allow for additional funding sources, grants, and those types of things to reduce the cost of construction and to keep the units affordable. So yes.
Thank you.
Do you have a particular 501c3 in mind?
Yeah, so I formed Gravel Point Foundation. It's a nonprofit corporation. We have applied for a 501c3, and it's been pending for the last few weeks. So usually that's a 6-week turnaround, but that's one that I have formed about a year ago.
And so that'll control the apartments?
No, so we would most likely, the 501c3 would be the holder of the property. And for example, the aquatic center, we would probably do a lease agreement or a management agreement with folks like the abandoned pool to operate and maintain it. The same is true with a workforce housing project. We would probably joint venture that with a a specific workforce housing developer.
So more just like a fiscal sponsor.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, if I may, just for the
Oh,
record.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Where the voice is coming from.
Yeah, just to clarify something I said, maybe correct the record. So the community benefit parcel will be dedicated to the city, right? So that automatically goes to you all in a development review. We can develop a condition of approval that reinforces that and also gives some sideboards and substance to whatever you would like to institute as far as vision goes for it, based on what you've seen today.
If I could, I'm looking at the applicant and they're indicating that that's not the case. So I'd like for them to clarify.
Yeah, so the intent was to donate that to a 501c3 or specifically for community benefit, not to the city, because the city, we felt like the city didn't want to have the burden of the risk. So, but we would work in correlation with the city to deliver a community benefit for that parcel.
It'd be a staff's recommendation that perhaps we could discuss potentially entering into a memorandum of understanding so that the city and the developer could work out these details and then present that MOU to the city council for approval.
Okay.
And then if that matures to something in the form of a development, then we could support that with a disposition and development agreement later on.
Okay.
And I see the attorneys nodding their heads.
Okay. All right, now we have time for public testimony. So I'll open the public testimony portion. Please hand me the sign up sheets, please. Again, individual testimony will be limited to 3 minutes.
And I will raise my hand when you're approaching 30 seconds.
Yes, here's our Sally.
Sally Drakowski, and I'm a Bandon resident. And as you know, I'm on Planning Commission, but I'm talking as a homeowner and a resident of the Bandon. Just want to say that changes can be very positive, and I think with all the hard work and the planning and all the things that are being offered in this project, that we are being offered an opportunity that we may never see again if we don't approve it now. I just feel like it's a win for the city, a win for the residents, win for the tourism industry that is our industry now. And I just sincerely hope that you approve this.
Thank you, Sally. Colleen Welch.
Hi, Colleen Welch. I'm a citizen of Bandon. I've submitted a letter of support, so I'll be very brief. To those people who have been opposed to this project throughout the Planning Commission phase, I would like them to please consider whether you are objecting to this project in particular or development in general. Development is a matter of when, not if. Changes in the Oregon state housing laws promoting housing effective January 1st of this year will limit local government's ability to regulate purely residential developments. And Bandon deserves a partner like Gravel Point, who has shown throughout the phase 1 process their commitment to maintaining our natural beauty and working with residents' concerns.
Thank you. Denise Frazier.
Denise Frazier, Bandon, Oregon. I did submit a letter, and I just wanted to say that I kind of agree wholeheartedly with Sally. So no need to reiterate, but it really is a great project and enhances our community and our city. So yes, I'm for approving phase 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Neil Barlow.
Hi, I'm Neil Barlow. I'm a resident and a business owner in Bandon. I'm here to support the Gravel Point Phase 2 development. This property is inside the urban growth boundary. That means that the area has been identified for development. And so, as some have mentioned, this is not a choice between growth and no growth. It is a choice between what kind of growth. If this land stays and is developed as R1, has been mentioned, we could be looking at a large section of tract housing through that area. Whereas with CD1, with R1, the city doesn't actually have a lot of control over what is built, as long as it's within code and zoning. Whereas with the CD1, the city has a lot more control over what is built in that area. Also, I think mentioned, but I'm going to reiterate it. Traffic was one of the big concerns of phase one, and the same would be true for phase two. However, the developer has taken the time to plan to reduce the traffic problems by that connector through to 101. And certainly the planning meeting, they talked about pushing that through in the short term so that it would be used for the phase one as well. But because phase one has already been approved, they didn't want to mention phase one. As also has been mentioned, the hotel has already been approved. It's going to be built. But that's just another place for visitors to sleep. What makes phase two different is the planned facilities that are open to the public that will provide family-friendly attractions, gives visitors more reason to visit and spend time in Bandon. An example would be weddings. Those bringing people who stay overnight, eat at restaurants, shop and visit Old Town. For me, I like that. Also, I personally looking forward to trying their golf facility, and I am by no means a golfer. So I asked the City Council to please approve phase two and let the city guide development, require good design, environmental protection, improve traffic access, and create more reasons for visitors to stay longer and support local businesses. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Neil. Mary O'Day.
Hello,
Hello.
I'm Dr. Mary O'Day. I'm going to read this so I stay within my time. There is no water or sewer capacity for the applications under consideration here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Now can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Under consideration here, Steve Major has provided the proof. He presented it at the December 11th, 2025 Planning Commission hearing on these ordinances. As documented in the 2022 Water Master Plan authored by Major, the city's water utility capacity is limited to 3 million gallons of treated water storage and 2 million gallons per day of treated water production. In his testimony, Major presented a diagram he created from data not available to the public or entered into this record. He projected Gravel Point water demands for phase one and phase two in 2026 is a combined demand of approximately 2.3 million gallons per day, with a mandated treated water storage requirement of approximately 2.8 gallons per day. When you add these demands to current customer demands, it's obvious that Gravel Point demands exceed the capacity of the water utility. You memorialized in the 2024 LUBA brief with the applicant that in 2022, the city's 6-year average ADD was 1.4 million gallons per day, or 2.2 to 3.6 million gallons per day MMD, and that equates to a 3.2 or 5 million gallons per day mandatory treated water storage for fire emergency and equalization waters. These demands exceed the capacity of the water utility. Here, in 2026, you have not planned any increase in the utility's capacity, even though you continue to unreasonably and recklessly add demand. You have a fiduciary responsibility to the contracted ratepayers, which take precedence over new users. You have a treated water shortage under Title 13. You have no water for this development, for the Breath of Life development, or any new demands on the water and sewer utilities as they stand today. Thank you.
Thank you. Trish Clancy.
What happened? Hi there.
Hi, my name's Tricia Clancy. I have been a resident and lived in the area for over 20 years, and also I'm a property owner. And I've seen many changes over this time. This huge luxury golf-related resort will change our unique Bandon community forever. As we've already spoken this evening, for this large development, there needs to be improvements in our outdated utilities, including water, sewer, storm drains, and fire hydrant flows. Even if we do have enough water and storage for all of the above, hopefully this will work out. And the Gravel Point people said they will help with the cost of this. It also will cause a big strain on all our services and a vast increase in traffic, needing more roads and parking everywhere. There are some significant protected wetlands on the property, but the State Land Department has still not approved the delineation, even though earlier they said they had, but last week they had not approved it, from what I read. Anyway, the groundwater levels in some of the construction areas are just 2 feet below the surface, even in September. They mention using sump pumps to remove the water, which will affect wetlands and residential wells. They mention the resorts, retail and restaurants will be good for Old Town Bandon businesses, but maybe not. Guests in hotels along Beach Loop may now dine at Gravel Point. Bandon Dunes has several restaurants and retail stores, but they encourage their mainly male guests to shop and dine on site. The golf amenity has recently been named the Fen, and it will have its own short golf course. How many holes will this short golf course have? There's no mention of that. Plus, it announced on the golf amenity there was going to be a new speakeasy bar with the special cocktails. How would that affect the local neighborhood at night? Bandon does have a problem with lack of affordable housing for local workers, including hundreds of golf caddies. However, now there is another huge development on the books that wants to build 420 1 to 3 bedroom affordable housing units near Harlem and Rosa Road, called Breath of Life. We do need more inexpensive housing, but this large development could again put a big strain on the utilities, services, roads, etc. In conclusion, so many unanswered questions. Does Bandon really want or need this? I'm totally against phase 2 Gravel Point, and I implore the City Council to delay or deny this project. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Kim, Console?
Kim Console, I live at 54914 Harrison Road. It's right next to the proposed retail village. 3 planning commissioners voted no on Gravel Point Phase 2. That's a serious statement that the council should heed. At the December 11th special meeting, Commissioner Pressler stated, quote, "I believe maintaining the current comprehensive plan designation, a mixture of open space and residential, better benefits the public and the community and also better protects the wetlands. So I would not be in favor of the zoning change and the master plan," end quote. Commissioner Norman said, quote, "I'm not fine with, nor do I think it's necessary to have a retail space in there, etc. So I feel more comfortable with that area, the entire area remaining R1 and open space," end quote. I agree with the commissioners. I am in support of the hardworking employees of Bandon, too many of which can't afford housing here. I am in support of Bandon business owners who struggle to find and keep employees due to the high cost of living here. This development does not help them. The proposed workforce housing is only for Gravel Point employees. The Gravel Point Phase 2 proposed residential housing will not be in the $3,000 affordable range determined by the research conducted by the Bandon Joint Workforce Housing Project. These applications also allow a hotel motel end user to purchase the project and use the residential areas for commercial hotel use. So there may be a residential housing at all. Watch the video from the Planning Commission about this. This is a resort designed to cater to tourists and make money for investors. It does not benefit the majority of the community of Bandon. Please, members of the City Council, vote no on Phase 2 or put it on hold until you see positive results from Phase 1. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mike Malloy.
Sir. Hi, Mike Malloy, 820 Seabird Drive, City of Bandon. I'm here with my wife Lori. Couple of things I just wanted to say. We're developers ourselves. And one of the things that disturbs me on a personal level, being a homeowner and a resident, not just a business owner here in town, is the lack of trust in our staff. The developer comes, presents extensive design work plans, and they give it to staff who reviews it. We've got engineers, we've got attorneys on staff looking at it. They're competent, professional people. So when the developer brings this to our city, it is being looked at professionally by an extremely adept staff. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. These people are good at what they do. I am the recipient of how good they are. I've spent a lot of money and time trying to keep up with their demands, which are righteous, legal, and codified. So that being said, I'm happy. As a resident, and I think I speak on behalf of my wife, we really welcome this. We could have moved anywhere in this country. We chose this town. We love it. Love it in spite of not enough restaurants, love it in spite of not enough stuff going on. But now with the developer and the developer's team providing us with what, at least in our opinion, is an absolutely high quality, inclusive development that is conscious of our community's desire to keep the natural state intact, I couldn't be happier. And I believe Lori would say the same thing. She'll yell at me for something later, but we are really happy to see the level of professionalism, the level of detail. And then, like I say, let's trust our staff. They do this every day. This is what they do, and they're reporting to you and the community on what is and isn't allowed and available. Fire flow, for instance. I fought some of the biggest fires in California's history. I fought Malibu fires. I am really worried about fire flow. I've read the reports. I'm happy. That's just this guy's opinion. So thanks for letting me air my thoughts, and I appreciate it. And I really hope you allow for the annexation, the master plan development, and the CD1 zoning change. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, that's all the names on the list. Do we have anybody else who wants to testify, or how about on the Zoom?
Lorraine Poole wants to say something.
Ask a question.
Oh, come on up. Give your name.
I don't see any raised hands.
That's right.
Lorraine Poole, Bandon. I just have a specific question about where the access road's going to come out on 101. Because if it's 21st Street, that boom is right in front of our house. 20th, they already have curbs and stuff. ODOT put in some nice curbs and sidewalks.
At 20th.
Yeah, so I am not happy to think about all these dump trucks and stuff coming right towards our property on 21st. And then I want to know, are they going to have a light there, a signal to, for traffic to get out on 101? What are they?
Well, we've been trying for years to get a signal at Seabird and haven't been too successful, so.
I mean, most of the questions you're asking right now is gonna be pretty much up to ODOT.
And that's pretty much.
Oh, I know,
Oops.
Sorry,
Yeah.
they're worthless. I know
Now
that.
they're unfunded. They have no money and they're worthless.
Well, anyway,
Okay.
I might have to put a sign up if I don't get these things remedied.
All right. Thank you, Lorraine.
Yeah.
Katie Iman.
Okay, my audio is now on. I want to say initially that I'm in favor of this project. It's right in my neighborhood. I'm surprised that Mr. Kaiser is letting you go through Bandon Commons because it's going to be a U-turn there. People are going to come into Bandon Commons, turn south, and then they have to do a U-turn back up to avoid the wetland to get over to the workforce housing. So anyway, that of course affects me, so I'm glad to get the new information. But I do think the issue that's been brought up about the water capacity of our utility should be addressed by staff or the council, because I think those are valid concerns, and I'd like to, I assume that there's an answer for that, but I'd like to have you spend a little time before the vote explaining how the solution to that problem, if it isn't one. Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted to say.
Thanks, Katie. Anybody else that hasn't testified? Oh, Rahino, come on up.
Good evening, members of the council. My name is Raymond Hino. I live at 2625 Spinnaker Drive in Bandon. And I want to speak to you just for a couple of minutes, both as a homeowner and as a representative of our local hospital here in Bandon. I'm also employed as the CEO of the Southern Coos Hospital. As a homeowner, my home on Spinnaker Drive is right at the south end of the Phase 2 development. And I have to say that having attended the public hearings out in the community, that I'm pleased with what I see from the development for the Phase 2 of Gravel Point. They're very nice homes. They'll be very visible from my home. I think they'll add to our neighborhood. I have zero concerns whatsoever regarding the single-family home development on the south side of the project, as well as the entire project. I think it'll add to our community, as several of the other testified statements have already made. As a representative of the hospital, I want to tell you that our hospital is currently engaged in a master facility planning project because our hospital is 26 years old now, and it's showing some age and a little bit outdated and needs expansion and improvement. And I'm very pleased that the representatives of the Gravel Point development have been very receptive to engaging with hospital staff and planners, looking over the plans, looking over our opportunities for funding and for development and utilizing their expertise. And I'm very confident that we will receive a lot of support from the Gravel Point development team and their expertise and years of valuable experience as we go through our own process of looking at expansion and growth and improvement of our local hospital. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Anybody else? If not, now it's time for a rebuttal from the applicant. You have 10 minutes.
Garrett West on behalf of the applicant from O'Connor West. I'm the guy who wraps things up with some technical details to put them in the record. If you do have questions and I can't answer them, I will invite the team back up to say things. So record today, it was like over 2,000 pages that came down in public comments. Don't know if you got a chance to read it all. I got to spend a couple hours reading through it. And so I just want to address a few of the things that were brought up. There were some concerns about Measure 56 notices being sent out. You can think of Measure 56 notices being sent out when a city council decides to change uses allowed in an entire zone in a city, or to potentially forcibly rezone someone's property. We're not being forcibly rezoned. We've asked you to rezone our property. You don't need to send us a notice about this hearing for Measure 56. And because no one else is getting rezoned, no one else gets a Measure 56 notice either. There were concerns that DLCD never received notice of these hearings. I triple checked. DLCD received the notice. All the applications were noticed properly by staff. They did their job. You don't need to worry about that. I double checked with our engineer. DSL and the Army Corps accepted our wetland delineation after an on-site visit with our biologist. There's been some concerns about the quasi-judicial and the legislative hearing framework for these proceedings. I think staff is right. It is legislative, but you've checked the box on quasi-judicial as well. You've done everything everyone has asked you to do. And if there's any further objections, I don't know what else you could do. So I just want to put that in the record. There were some objections raised about Chapter 16, 0.04.110, saying there's no planning director right now. You got one. So
We have one.
check that off. Chapter 16.08.010, that deals with property line adjustments and like subdivisions and partitions. We're not at that stage. We're not asking for any of that. It's not applicable. Chapter 16.12.020, that deals with conditional uses, conditional use permits. We're not asking for conditional use permit because we're asking for rezoning. So that's not applicable either. In conclusion, we'd ask you to approve this project. We do think it makes sense for Bandon. We've tried to take in as much of the public comment as possible in this kind of design and really fit something that makes sense for the Bandon community. If you do have any last minute questions for the applicant's team, please let us know.
I have.
Talking to your mic.
When are you going to start on phase one?
Oh, I'm going to ask Brett to come up and address timing.
And
All right. So we just got our street standard exceptions approved on December the 2nd. We have submitted our 1200C next week. So the next steps would be to submit our joint permit application, which has our wetland mitigation plan and our 1200C for phase one. That's an agency decision that could take, I don't know, 60 days, 90 days. So hopefully in second quarter, we can be, after the site dries out, we can start doing some work. So
Like in the spring, maybe?
Summer,
Spring.
probably.
late spring, probably.
Oh, okay.
Anyone else have any questions up here? Not anybody else wish to testify? All right.
We're gonna close it.
Do I have a motion to end the public hearing and close the record?
Motion to close the hearing and close the record and close the public hearing.
Been moved by seconded?
Second.
Who seconded? Chris.
We need a motion to
Okay.
close the hearing.
What?
I said, I don't think we need a motion to close.
Well,
I don't-
they tell me I have to.
either.
Yeah, when I go by this script, I do what I'm told.
don't think we need
Okay.
motion to close the hearing.
What?
I agreed with that. I didn't think we needed a motion to close it, but go ahead.
Well, we did.
Our
Oh,
city
all in
attorney's
favor?
sitting over there.
We haven't even voted. Have we voted?
All in favor?
All in favor to close the hearing?
We need a roll call vote for it now.
No, we
No,
don't.
okay.
No.
Just checking.
Now, the motions, this is not like they did at the planning commission. This is a little bit different. This is in accordance with our ordinance. Each of the three motions will be made separately, each of the three ordinances that we're voting on. So now we will begin that process.
Okay, so
Let's see.
Script.
Wait a minute.
gotta get her script.
I
There's a lot of paper up
don't
here.
have that other page.
Which page are you looking for?
The pages that you brought us.
Your question.
Yes, go.
Mr. Contreras,
Talking about.
where does the donut hole
Go.
fit into this stuff?
Oh, okay.
The donut hole,
We don't have this.
is that going to be annexed into this?
No, at this time, the applicant, which is the property owner representative, is requesting that their property be annexed. It will affect no additional properties currently located within the donut hole.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm not sure.
Lots 100 and 200 they currently own, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
I don't think we're at the motion stage.
No.
You should have rung me down here. I think we've closed the testimony portion and now it's time for the council to deliberate.
Deliberate.
Yeah, I got off.
Jeff, you can always speak up to us. Thank you.
I got off here. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right, now
Now we will move forward.
But we need to stick to what's in the record because we don't, up here, we don't want to introduce anything or ask questions that isn't already in the record because then they don't have a chance to respond to that. So,
Well, we do have 10 different conditions of approval
yes,
just inside one ordinance itself. Is it?
And that's
just
the
with
third
one ordinance?
we're good doing 3.
10 conditions of approval, those are.
Conditions are just with the one ordinance.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Did council get a chance to read over those conditions? Everybody?
Mhm.
No? Oh, Jerry.
Is here new ones?
No.
Because I have something that was said earlier this evening, and I think this is a decision that the city council needs to make. I personally do not want the road opened for vehicular traffic to access 11th Street through the city park. I mean, we are trying, this is a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit.
Yep.
We don't need any. And what I'm suggesting is that, and I've talked to Jeff, help me with this, and Tori, that during detailed development plan review at the determination of the city manager or his designee, any future surface street connection into city park shall be limited to non-automobile modes of travel. That way they could have pathways to access the amenities there, but they're not any no motorized vehicles.
Yeah.
But
Could I add to that though? I'd like to add a friendly amendment that gets reassessed after 1 or 2 years after the project's completed.
What?
so you would want traffic through city park?
Well, I think after the project's completed,
Just assessing the
I'd like to reassess it.
You're saying.
Reassess
I
the
agree.
project or
No, reassess the access from the park,
city park?
Right.
right?
For now, I
After
think
1 year, after 2 years, we get an assessment from the city staff that shows why we should or should not.
But
And I'd like to stipulate that still be on the developer's cost.
well, yeah, but they're going to develop a pathway to City Park, not as wide as a street, and you want to reassess it and possibly make them put in a street after the fact, a year later? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
well, right now, I would like to use as a condition of approval 11 that we, during the detailed development plan, that the ingress into city park shall be limited to non-automobile modes of travel. I mean, I think it would be terrible to open City Park, which is a 15-mile-an-hour. That's why it's so important that they're opening either 20th or 21st Street so that we have another access to the highway so that we get them out of City Park. So now we have Seabird and then we would have a third one, and that's really what we're looking for.
What was the width of that connector road proposed? In City,
Connector for 21st Street?
no, into City Park.
They didn't say,
They didn't say the
they
width.
just said a road into City Park. So we just want a path. But we need to,
So we need to add that condition.
we need to add that condition.
But is there a way to create, as Archie was stating, is there a way to create a path, but wide
I
enough so
don't
that
know which ordinance it is.
if the feasibility shows that we can, if we want to change it into vehicular traffic, we can without any sort of major improvement?
Well, it says here that will be during the detailed development plan,
Right.
right?
Yes, if there's interest on the part of the council to entertain possibly expanding that connection to accommodate vehicle traffic at a later date and time, that would require an amendment to the existing condition that's been read. So you may want to take this in 2 parts. First, review and decide whether or not there's interest and majority support for the condition as proposed by the mayor. And secondly, if there's support for amending that condition to accommodate the council's request to assess the potential of widening that connection to accommodate vehicular traffic within, let's say, 18 months of its completion. And if there's information and support, either through a traffic analysis or the direction of the city council to accommodate that expansion, then the developer would be required to make those improvements within date certain.
Of course,
Perhaps.
But he wouldn't be, this wouldn't be mandatory for them. This was something that they actually proposed. So they would have the opportunity then, if we said it would be fine, if the majority said they could come into City Park, they would have the opportunity to build.
Yes, it would be at the discretion of the council to implement the second part of that condition.
Can I ask the developer something?
Yes.
Is it your intention on the plan that we just
No,
saw?
No.
I cannot.
It doesn't, no.
I can't. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry.
So anyway, I think we need to vote on this. And at some point then, in a year or so, if somebody feels like we need traffic in City Park, vehicular traffic in City Park, then we could raise the issue and
I think we need two
I-
different motions.
Yeah, if we can just word if we can just word the condition to where it incorporates what you're looking for, but keeping the roadway wide enough so that you're not having to make major improvements.
So you have an option.
okay,
Yeah,
wide
right.
enough.
At a
wide
later
enough-
date.
Okay, wide enough to accommodate automobiles at the discretion of the council or something, at a later vote of the
A
council.
future date, future
Is it-
consideration.
Okay, that would be all part of, that would be part of condition approval 11, because we have to, yes, Shayla.
So the conditions that you're talking of, I just want to make sure the conditions go with ordinance number 1678, which is the master plan development approval. That's the ordinance that has the 10 conditions already.
Right,
So when
this
you're-
is number 11.
So when you're talking about adding a conditional. level,
Yes.
Correct, okay.
Jeff helped me with that. He did, I mean, he didn't, you don't have to help me now, but he did help me.
Okay.
You see what we're saying?
Yeah.
So that we could incorporate both.
Yeah.
Archie's
See
concerns
the 10
and that for the time.
Yeah, I don't-
And of course, this wouldn't even come to a vote until such time as the phase 1 is completed, basically.
So we just have to be specific on that condition then, like when we're wanting to readdress it.
We can say we could address it a year after they've completed their project or something. How would that be?
A year after phase 2 is complete?
Yes.
Okay,
What you're looking for?
so that's gonna go in as condition 11.
So, all right, so that need.
Where is condition 11?
Oh,
We
it's
just-
on the left.
You found them,
Oh,
okay. The conditions. All right,
Excuse me, Mayor.
yes.
No, sorry, over.
Oh,
Your planning director.
Either.
Does your timing trigger want to be occupancy or post occupancy by 12 months?
Post, I would think.
Okay, so you understand how this project is operating in context, so that's provides you more information upon which to make an informed decision at that juncture. So say 12 months after full
After it's
occupancy of phase 1.
After full occupancy.
Sounds
You
good.
said phase 1, but we. said
Phase 2.
Phase 2.
Phase 2, sorry.
Yeah. All right, so now are we on the same page?
I believe we are.
12 months after. All right, so
Okay,
I,
So do we need to?
we need to motion on it, yes, because it needs to be added.
What?
After full occupancy of phase 2.
Then we'll revisit it.
Revisit
Okay.
the city park pathway
Do I
road.
hear a motion?
I hear him, oh
Do
God.
you hear him?
All right, I make a motion
Okay,
that,
go ahead.
that we approve this with the conditions, 1 through 11 as amended.
Aren't we just?
We're only.
No, we're just doing
Hold on.
11.
Oh, just on number.
Hold on,
11?
hold on, hold on.
11 to add to 18.
10 will come in when we vote on.
Okay, then I make a motion that.
Hold on, Bear, hold on.
You're
We're not there yet.
voting on whether or not to add this condition number 11. When you
Yes,
vote on
right.
The actual ordinance, you'll vote as
Separately.
presented.
Okay, so
It's
I
presented
make,
and amended.
but I still have to make a motion. to
Yes.
Approve
To add the condition.
condition 11.
Correct.
Yes.
I so move.
All right, do I hear a second?
Second.
Been moved by Bear, seconded by Madeline, that we add the condition of number 11, that during the development plan review, at the determination of the city manager, any future surface street connection to the city park shall be limited to non-automobile modes of travel, but it can be large enough to accommodate travel, which will then be examined after 12 months after the
Occupancy,
of point.
phase 2.
Phase 2 is completed. And to see if we want to allow vehicular traffic into City Park. All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Now we'll go, and now on with deliberation.
All right.
I know that this is probably the biggest thing we've ever been through, most of us even. So yeah, we have paper up. I mean, I could barely stagger in here tonight with the amount of paper that I had, so yeah.
Okay,
So do we want to?
deliberating.
Further?
We're deliberating. Do we want to discuss this further? Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Well, I think one thing to point out, and I think they pointed it out very clearly, had this, if we're not going to develop there, then we could have 400, and this is what Dan Chandler told us immediately when he first heard about this.
Yes, he
We
did.
could have 400 homes out there, and those 400 homes would not be required to enhance the water line, which we are going to be able to have them do as a condition of development. There is a low water flow. We know that the water flow in certain areas south of Beach Loop are fairly low. And with the development, this will actually enhance the water flow out there on Beach Loop, which is probably the only way, knowing our finances, the main way that we're going to be able to pay for this and upsize these is through some large development. And that's, so I think this is a very positive thing as far as I'm concerned.
Madam Mayor, if I may,
Who is that?
Tori.
I know,
Yes.
I know.
Sound just goes completely around the room and you have no idea where it's coming from.
In light of the comments that were provided by the city council regarding the community benefit parcel, I think it warrants a condition of approval, and staff has drafted the following. Development plans for the proposed community benefit parcel shall be approved by the city council with consideration given to budgetary, maintenance, and liability concerns. The approval shall occur during a city council meeting prior to detailed development plan approval and shall result in a memorandum of understanding and subsequent development agreement with the city to ensure benefits proposed by the applicant are maintained in perpetuity. Proposed uses and activities shall be in substantial conformance with those proposed as part of the area plan approval. And just for the benefit of the council, workforce housing is governed by state of Oregon housing guidelines, and workforce housing affordability limits are between 80 and 120% of the median income. And through these agreements, we could memorialize that and require that these units be reserved and in conformance and compliance with applicable state guidelines relative to workforce housing.
Essentially like the other project.
Correct.
Was that a proposed motion?
That is a proposed motion.
Proposed motion or a proposed
I mean,
condition?
condition of approval.
Okay.
So we need to add a number 12.
That's correct.
I move that we add Tori's red condition to the list of
All right, do I hear?
conditions as number 12.
Been moved by Josh and Jerry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Here we go. All right.
Now are we ready to begin to, and Jeff, can we, if we approve one of them, can we just go ahead and then if it's unanimous, can we go ahead and finish that one before we, or should we go all three before we go back for final approval?
I would submit that's up to you.
Okay, well, we'll just see how.
Yeah, as long as you do it in that order, unanimous, then move to second.
Okay.
Shayla? Okay.
Okay, the first thing is, would the city attorney read the annexation ordinance 1674 by title only?
If I can find it.
There you go.
I have a stack of paper in front of me too. Okay. This is ordinance number 1674, an ordinance of the city of Bandon, Oregon, annexing property upon request of city council by landowners of subject property, 2815W 36, tax lot 100, 2815W 36C, tax lot 200, the subject property.
Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 1674.
Second.
Been moved by
Wait,
Mel.
no, I don't do that. Wait, stop, void that. I move to pass ordinance number 1674 to second reading.
Thank you.
All right, it's been, and now we need a roll call vote.
Counselor Sothauer, sorry.
4. Aye.
Aye, thank you. Counselor Presetto.
Aye.
Counselor Seymour.
Yes.
Counselor President Adamson.
Aye.
Counselor Garrett.
Yes.
Counselor Powell.
Yes.
Let's show the record has moved to 1674 to the second hearing. Now we will vote.
No.
I don't make a motion.
Okay, make a motion. Wait,
I did it again.
I'd like to
Title.
have the title read by title only.
Yeah.
So ordinance number 1674, an ordinance of the city of Bandon, Oregon, annexing property upon request of city council by landowners of subject property. 2815W36, tax lot 100, 2815W36C, tax lot 200, the subject property.
Motion to approve ordinance number 1674.
Second.
Been moved by Madeline, second by Josh to adopt ordinance number 1674. Right. Roll call vote, please.
Counselor Southour,
Aye.
Counselor Prusetto, Counselor Seymour.
Yes.
Counselor President Adamson.
Aye.
Counselor Garrett.
Yes.
Counselor Powell.
Yes.
Let the record show 1674 has been adopted. Now we'll move on to ordinance 1676. Can I have it read by title only?
Yes, this is ordinance number 1676, an ordinance adopting an amendment to the City of Bandon Comprehensive Plan Map to change, assign land use and zoning map designations for subject property. 2815W36, tax lot 100, 2815W36C, tax lot 200, 2815W36BA, tax lots 2500, 2600, and 2700, subject property.
Motion to pass ordinance number 1676 to a second reading or second, whatever it is. I don't know.
Yeah, is that the term to second reading?
Second reading? Okay.
Yes.
Second.
Been moved by Madeline. I'll let Jerry second this one.
Yeah.
Roll call vote, please.
We're going to switch it up here. Counselor Powell,
Yes.
Counselor Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor President Adamson,
Aye.
Counselor Seymour,
Yes.
Counselor Prusetto, Counselor Southour.
Aye.
Thank you.
And now we'll have it read by title only for adoption.
Ordinance number 1676, an ordinance adopting an amendment to the City of Bandon Comprehensive Plan Map to change, assign land use and zoning map designations for the subject property. 2815W36, tax lot 100, 2815W36C, tax lot 200, 2815W36BA, tax lots 2500, 2600, and 2700, the subject property.
Motion to adopt ordinance 1676.
Second. Been moved by Madeline, seconded by Jerry, that we adopt ordinance 1676. Can we have a roll call vote?
Yes. Counselor Powell,
Yes.
Counselor Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor President Adamson,
Aye.
Counselor Seymour,
Yes.
Counselor Prusetto,
Aye.
Counselor Southour.
Aye.
Let the record show 1676 has been adopted. Now we'll move on to 1678, and this will have two amendments to the already amendments. I'll have them read by title only.
Ordinance number 1678, an ordinance adopting a master plan development for subject property. 2815W36, tax lot 100, 2815W36C, tax lot 200, 2815W36BA, tax lots 2500, 2600, and 2700, subject property.
Motion to pass ordinance 1678 to a second reading.
Second. I'll have a roll call vote.
Counselor Powell,
Yes.
Counselor Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor President Adamson.
Aye.
Counselor Seymour.
Yes.
Counselor Prusetto.
Aye.
Counselor Southour.
Aye.
And this does include the two
New condition.
new conditions,
On the next one, well,
1678.
yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So do I hear you want to read it again?
Yeah, when you make your motion to finally approve,
Yes.
you'll include the conditions 16 or 11 and 12 that we just discussed.
Okay.
This is ordinance number 1678, an ordinance adopting a master plan development for subject property. 2815W36, tax lot 100, 2815W36C, tax lot 200, 2815W36BA, tax lots 2500, 2600, and 2700, the subject property.
Motion to adopt ordinance number 1678, including conditions 11 and 12.
Second. Been moved by Madeline, seconded by Jerry. I'll have a roll call vote.
Counselor Powell,
Yes.
Counselor Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor President Adamson.
Aye.
Sorry, Counselor Seymour,
Yes.
Counselor Prusetto, Counselor Southour.
Aye.
Let
Thank
the
you.
record show 1678 has been adopted with the two amendments.
Thank you.
Lost my- I guess that's
We're good.
Yes.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to call for a 5-minute recess.
Yes, we are gonna
Yeah,
have, we
please.
are gonna have a recess. 7 minutes. How's 7? Awesome. Few minutes.
Minutes?
Few minutes. Okay.
You know?
We don't have any place to go anymore.
Peace out. Have a good night.
I would just.
Yeah, good suggestion. No, but you can bring up some.
Oh, I got you. I would just cause.
Oh. To go on to old new business, resolution 2601, request from Bonneville Power Administration, financial reserves policy surcharge. Corey, are you on this one?
Yes, we would like to invite our electric utility supervisor. Kevin, you can sit over here if you like.
There is.
Borrow the city attorney's mic. He'll be providing the presentation this evening for you all.
Thank you.
Kevin.
This on. Hey, Madam Mayor, councilors, thank you for your time this evening. This item is regarding a power financial reserve policy surcharge that was triggered with BPA landing under their reserves that they're supposed to have in the bank. So with that, they are going to be collecting $40 million system-wide over a 10-month period, beginning last month, ending September 2026 of this year. The estimated cost to us, luckily, is only about $58,000. So staff is recommending that this surcharge be passed through to our customers, distributed evenly among all of our electric accounts. This approach will ensure that the city recovers the full cost without impacting our electric fund, and will treat all of our customers equally. So tonight, staff is asking council to review this information, discuss, and provide direction on how you'd like us to proceed. Thank you.
I got a question.
Yeah.
How'd they come up 40 million short?
Yeah.
So this is what they told me. They had 3 low water years, and whatever their low amount is, I don't know. But that's what they sent us and sent out to all their customers. So that is what they're collecting over that 9 months.
That sure must be nice. You know?
It would be nice.
Hey,
yes.
we didn't make enough. We're gonna come out and collect some more from you.
Yes. So, yeah, luckily ours is only, roughly 60,000. At least it's not higher like other larger utilities.
Right.
But no, I don't know how somehow it triggers automatically. It's not even something I don't think anybody gets to say. I think as soon as it hits that line, it automatically triggers. So the way it was explained to me.
Is there an estimated average on what the per end user cost is going to be?
$1.40.
$1.40. Yep.
It's on the pink page.
And I'm working with finance to figure out, if you guys approve this, the easiest way, so we don't have to reinvent our bills, the easiest way that we can attach this to each customer. And then we've also put out some notice to our customers.
I was gonna say, we are gonna notice the customers that
Yes. And just so you guys know, our base rate in town is $11.99. Out of town's $25.14. Coos Curry is $35.79.
Yeah.
So even with that $1.40, our base rate is still going to be, $9 plus cheaper, depending in town or out of town.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks to pass it on to our customers, but I do feel like this is the right move.
Oh, it's fair.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have to do it.
So now this would be just to approve resolution 2601.
Motion
Be
to
the
approve.
motion.
Resolution 2601.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2601. All in favor? Unanimous. Next item is the resolution 2602, travel and expense reimbursement policy. I guess Paula has this one.
That's correct.
June, did you make this all colorful for us? Thank you.
Is it on now? Okay. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Before you is a new travel and expense reimbursement policy. Right now, travel information is part of our employee handbook, which is from 2012. Parts of it are severely outdated and other things are just not addressed, and it's not really in a succinct policy. It's spread out throughout the handbook, so this puts everything in one place, updates some guidelines, and defines more terms. So we run into less questions.
Motion to approve resolution 2602.
Second.
Wait a minute, do you realize that this motion, you cannot buy alcoholic beverages and get reimbursed
We've
for
known
it?
that since we've been on council.
That was a clarification.
I know there's a motion,
I
a
was-
vote on the floor, but I just have
I
a
was
question.
kidding.
All right.
Employee handbook hasn't been updated since 2012?
No, it hasn't. We're working on that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're taking it section by section. It's a big task.
Yeah,
Now, who made the motion?
I did.
Madeline.
I second.
And Jerry seconded
Jerry
it?
seconded.
Jerry second.
All in favor of approving resolution 2602?
You got it, Mayor.
Unanimous. The next one, unlawful transfer on a street or highway ordinance number 1677.
Yes, this will be presented by the city recorder, June.
Good evening. This is just the, isn't it on?
Yeah, we hear you.
Barely.
We can hear you, June.
What do you say?
My chair is going down as I'm talking to you. I'm shrinking. This is ordinance 1677 presented to you from your staff comments and what you're recommended to me to make. It's the unlawful of, my chair is really.
I can see you. I know, I can see you.
Unlawful transfer between a vehicle and a pedestrian or a person on the street. This is the person that would be cited would be the person in the vehicle. With the passing of this ordinance, we would make signs and get those posted up through town. The chief is going to work on locations that he would like these signs posted, and Mr. Lakey will get them made for us to get posted up. If you have any questions, let me know. It's just exactly what you guys asked for.
Yes, what we discussed last meeting, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Motion to approve ordinance 1677.
No, wait.
This is an ordinance, so you have to
It
go.
it has to be read by title only.
Oh, God, sorry, sorry.
All right, please read title only.
Okay.
Yeah, put it in big letters.
City abandoned ordinance number 1677, an ordinance amending the abandoned municipal code to add regulations regarding the transfer of property between vehicle occupants and pedestrians on public streets or highways.
Who made the
Motion to pass ordinance 1677 to second reading?
Second.
moved by Madeline, seconded by Jerry? I'll have a, it has to be read.
Yeah.
Both.
Counselor Soffauer,
What were you saying?
Counselor Pursetto.
I had some concerns
Oh,
or questions, but
Wait.
Well, you
Yeah.
can ask him after we go to the second.
yeah,
reading.
yeah.
Okay. Counselor Seymour,
Yes.
Counselor President Adamson,
aye.
Counselor Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor Powell.
Yes.
Thank you.
let the record show it's been moved to second reading. I don't know I never know what to say.
Yeah, I know.
Right now, what did you have concerns about?
Well, I was just, I mean, I get that the general idea of this ordinance is for like panhandling or vagrants that are standing on the corners and asking for money, but
Yeah.
it's just funny because it states like tangible property or goods. So like if somebody had I don't know, a bookshelf in their car and wanted to hand it to somebody that was on the street, it just seemed weird.
Well,
That makes it illegal.
last month we talked about that, and I think that Sergeant Whitmer clarified that chief wanted that language in there because it covers everything, including drugs going out of the car.
Right,
like a
right.
Bowel or something.
All right. But, sorry. Is it?
Microphone.
Okay, sorry. That's what Chief Dillon had requested, so it covers everything from whether it's food, beverage,
Bicycle.
money, bicycle, drugs, obviously goes a different avenue, bookshelves, anything.
So essentially what may not be a crime in some aspects of it are still going to be criminal if they
Right, because
get cited.
it falls under kind of what you guys were talking about from the last meeting of
Right.
of impeding traffic and causing clogs up
Gotcha.
parking lots and such.
And my only concern is that and I can't find it right now, but I thought I read that even in private parking lots that are open to the public. Is that Can we do that?
Well, this is for public property.
Well, no, I think it
But
says in
he
here.
said private.
I know it
Private
said
parking lot.
private.
Public.
I believe the private property is if they're in private property passing to the right of way or into the
Correct.
city.
Correct.
So if they're sitting in a parking space, but they're passing the item through to the right of way or to the street, they could be cited.
Because we
Okay.
can't dictate what happens with private property.
That's what I,
And that's also if
Worried
the
about-
business owners are contacting the police regarding things that are happening within the parking lot.
yeah,
Well, that would be up to the business owners.
that's up
deal
to
with
the
Yes.
business guy, but that,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, can we have it read by title only again? please?
Sure. City abandoned ordinance number 1677, an ordinance amending the abandoned municipal code to add regulations regarding the transfer of property between vehicle occupants and pedestrians on public streets or highways.
Motion to adopt ordinance 1677.
Second. Moved by Madeline, seconded by Jerry to adopt 1677. We'll have a roll call vote.
Yes.
Counselor Garrett,
Yes.
Counselor President Adamson,
Aye.
Counselor Seymour,
Yes.
Counselor Bracetto, Counselor Southower.
Aye.
Thank you.
Let the record show 1677 has been adopted. And now do I have
Now,
a,
this is only if they transfer, correct?
Yeah.
Like, you can't do anything if they're just standing out there with a sign. They actually have to, okay. Right, gotcha.
now we have time for public comment. Not like we haven't had public comment, but does anybody wish to, is there anybody on Zoom that wants to address the council? June? You have no one?
Anybody on Zoom?
Okay. And we'll have city manager comments.
Just have one this evening, and that's to announce that a special meeting of the city council has been called for Monday, January 12th at 1:30. And that will be to discuss potential options for increasing water and wastewater utility rates. It was in response to council direction for staff to bring back an information report for discussion purposes. And the objective is to solicit input and direction from the council on how best to proceed.
Okay.
Just want to conclude by wishing everybody a happy new year.
Thank you. Bear, or Shayla, did you have anything? Bear?
Well, actually, since the gorse came up earlier, I was talking with somebody about gorse and they were under the mistaken impression, because in the ordinance, it mentions voluntary.
Yes, it does.
It does say voluntary, but then it says if you don't do it voluntarily, you may be taken to court and forced to do it. But so the point of the whole thing is removing gorse from your property is not an option. You can do it voluntarily or you can do it under duress, but it is not optional. And because if it's somebody not doing it, they're hurting the community, they're hurting their neighbors. I mean, we've been working really, I'm concerned with this. I was the first gorse person. And it's to lose what we've gained by having one or two people decide, I don't want to do it, is just, it's selfish. And it upset me a lot. And I reread the thing going, yeah, it does say voluntary, or under a court order. So no, it is not optional.
Which ordinance were you looking at?
I don't
The
remember.
nuisance ordinance?
Nuisance.
Yes.
Was it in the nuisance
It
ordinance?
was in the
believe it was,
municipal
yeah.
code.
Several different places. It says several different things.
Yeah.
And that's why we're going to
But-
try to,
But voluntary means you can do it
I know
by
it.
yourself, or you can do it.
But that's a contradiction then, because you're saying
Contradiction.
it's voluntary, but if you don't do it voluntarily, we're gonna take you to court. So
Then it'll be under
it's
duress.
gotta be one or the other.
But it's crazy. If you can't enforce it, why do you have the ordinance? Because there's no reason for it. And, no, it's got to be mandatory. There is not an option. You have to get rid of your gorse. I'm sorry, but that's it. And I will, having been concerned with gorse, I will fight that to my last breath. Okay. Anyway, Happy New Year, everybody.
Jerry?
She's choking. She ate a peanut. She's choking. Just want to wish everyone Happy New Year. Let's look forward to a good 2026 and everybody stay safe and let's make it through winter. I'm still not ready for all this rain.
We've hardly had, well, we did have
Yeah, we had some.
a little, but
I know. It's coming.
I have a couple of questions. For one thing, I guess we have a new person running the barn. Is that correct?
Yeah, I saw that.
I think it's Amber Berg. And I understand that our code compliance officer has resigned effective December 31st, and I'm wondering who's going to be our new municipal code officer. Or has
Yes,
that decision been made yet, or?
Richard retired and I'm working with the Director of Community Development to revisit the opportunity that presents
Okay.
from a code enforcement standpoint for, proactive, reactive enforcement. And coupled with the gorse related issues, there may be opportunities to combine those two efforts and fold it into one position.
I just hope that whoever you decide to hire is not too abrasive to the community, because unfortunately it doesn't go back on the staff. It goes back on
Right
the
on
community. We're the ones who hear it when people aren't treated correctly.
With
So
respect.
it's just the way I feel. And it says by the charter that I can say that as long as I'm sitting here. I can't go into your office and say it, but I can say it up here. So that's why I'm saying it up here. Next, Happy New Year.
Hope everybody had a great holiday break. I hope everybody has a happy new year. Am I to understand that the special meeting on January 12th is in the comments that Archie and Bear and I were making about bringing all of that back from the last meeting? We're having a
What?
special meeting instead of
What are you talking about?
the special meeting that we're having.
What about
The
it?
water rates,
What?
Rate setting.
water rate.
Correct.
Rates and sewer rates.
That's in reference to what we discussed at the previous meeting.
Oh, that you wanted.
Bringing that
But you
contract
wanna
idea
bring-
back.
You want to bring the vote.
Yes, that's correct.
We're just bringing the idea back. Any
Right.
idea?
Let him know what he discovered.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
No comment.
Happy New Year.
All right, we're out of here.
Oh, we're out of here. Thank you.
Pretty bad.
June.